When we are talking about our sankalp and our sanskars and our world, a very important role that is playing there is the food we eat and the water we drink. In our culture, there is a very beautiful saying which says, Jaisa ann, vaisa man, jaisa pani, vaisi vani, which means as will be my food, so will be my mind, as will be my water, so will be my vocabulary, my words. And which means food is not just nutrition for the body. Food is vibrations, it's energy. So it has three categories of food: sattvic food, rajasic food, and tamasic food. So if I want to have a sattvic mind, I will have to have sattvic food. I cannot have a tamasic food and say I want a sattvic mind. So I want divinity, purity, peace, happiness, but I am consuming food which has violence and death. So it just will not match. So if I want to have a clean, pure mind, it begins with my anna, the food that I am eating. This is also an experiment that we can do. Everything, spirituality and science, why they go hand in hand? Because both say experiment. They don't say believe. They'll say experiment. Experiment, experience. When you get the experience, that's truth for you. Till you don't get the experience, don't believe it. So keep experimenting, but don't reject without experimenting. So Jaisa ann, vaisa man. We all know that animals have feelings, thoughts, emotions. We all know what happens in the slaughterhouse, right? So we just have to pause for 30 seconds and ask ourselves, what does that animal go through in the slaughterhouse? So what are the emotions that are there? It would be hatred, anger, resentment, fear, hurt, pain, and helplessness. And this is an emotion of the animal for many days. And after these spectrum of emotions comes violence, because the animal is killed, and then death. So hatred, anger, resentment, fear, helplessness, violence, death. And after all this, it comes in our plate and we say proteins and health. So it just does not match. It just does not match.
The Hindu religion doesn't have this forbidding tone. You do this or you will go to hell. You do this and you will go to heaven. The Hindu religion just makes you aware of the consequences of actions. So it doesn't forbid you from meat eating, but it tells you the consequences of what you eat. The Bhagavad Gita talks about three kinds of foods. There are foods in the mode of goodness, foods in the mode of passion, and foods in the mode of ignorance. Foods in the mode of goodness are those, the natural stuff that God has created for humans, the vegetables, the fruits, the milk of the cow, the grains. When you eat these, your body becomes healthy, your mind becomes calm and peaceful, and your inner being becomes conducive to enlightenment. So you experience peace, contentment, and satisfaction through the mode of goodness. And then these same foods, when they are cooked with the idea of gratifying the palate, in other words, too much of chilies, too much of salt, too much of sugar, too hot, too cold, extreme. Now the intention has changed. I wish to enjoy my food. It comes into the mode of passion. When you eat foods in the mode of passion, this inflames the material desires. It sends the mind into a spin. I want this, I need this, I have to do that. So the person becomes agitated. And then the Bhagavad Gita says there are foods in the mode of ignorance. These are dry foods, these are stale, putrefied foods, intoxicating foods, and all the non-vegetarian foods. When we take these, it increases our anger, the inclination to violence, laziness, indolence, the darkness that envelops our soul. So the Bhagavad Gita and the scriptures tell us, look, this is the consequence of what you eat. Now you choose. But remember, whatever you choose, ahar shuddha sattva shuddhi, whatever you eat will have a consequence upon the mind and the body.
Now, when it comes to food, what it means is, we are taking another life, whatever that is, it may be plant life, animal life, whatever. You're taking another life, ingesting it, and you have to make it your life. That's the whole thing. What is your life, what is that life, if you look at it? All life on this planet is coming from the earth. This body is also the same soil, this is also same soil. If there is a earthworm, that is also same soil. But see how it has become, how this has become, how that has become. If I give you like a mango or a banana?
Mango.
Mango. I know, you're ruling the state right now. Now, if you eat a mango, this mango becomes a woman in you. If I eat a mango, the same mango becomes a man in me. If a cow eats a mango, the same mango becomes a cow in the cow. Why is this happening? There is a certain information or software in you. Whatever you eat, it transforms it into a woman. If I eat, it transforms it into a man. If a cow eats, that becomes a cow. So, every life is happening the way it is happening because of a certain dimension of information, or in modern terminology, let's call it software. There is a certain software, which is an arrangement of information. Now, the idea is to eat as simple a software as possible. If you eat that kind of life, which is a very simple software, your ability to override that software and make it entirely a part of you is very good. As that software gets complex, more and more complex, your ability to integrate it goes down. So especially if it's a creature which has some sense of thought and emotion, if it has emotion, then you should not eat it. This is the understanding. An animal which has any emotion displays certain emotions, especially if it displays emotion which is near to human emotion, you should not eat it because it will not integrate itself, that animal nature will start manifesting itself.
That's the proper way of doing it, isn't it? Now, interestingly, many people are unaware, but the early Christians were vegetarians. The history of Christianity informs us that the early Christians were vegetarians. When Christianity first spread into the Roman Empire, if a Christian was caught, they would take meat and push it down their throat just to annoy them. However, when it got adopted as the official religion of the Roman Empire, at that time, meat eating became allowed by the law. The early Buddhists, the primary teaching of the Buddha was vegetarianism, right? So Hinduism is not the only scripture or only religious tradition that talks about vegetarianism. It has been practiced around the world. And slowly, the Western world is also coming to this realization that, wow, vegetarianism is such a boon, and they are linking it to good health. It's a medical fact that meat eaters have a 200% chance of catching cancer compared to non-meat eaters. And why is that? Meat putrefies so rapidly. So it needs to be expelled quickly. That is why the carnivorous animals have very small intestines. It comes in and quickly it goes out. The human intestines are 10 times the body length. When meat remains in the system for so long, it causes disease. This human body was made herbivorous. It was not made carnivorous. If you see our teeth structure, We got molars all the way for grinding. The carnivores, they've got incision teeth, for cutting the flesh. They don't have molars. And humans have got molars all the way. The carnivores only do linear motion of their jaws. And the herbivores, they can do bidirectional and grind their food. So if you see biologically as well, we humans were made to be herbivores. Nevertheless, the Vedas say that it is a choice that you make based upon what your goals and aspirations are.